So Mayor London Breed yesterday, she had a little meeting. She was doing a little Q&A at the United Nations Plaza, which in San Francisco is basically an open air, you name it, they sell it there type of market, if you know what I mean. And you had so many people squawking, anti-cops, saying all kinds of crazy stuff during this public Q&A. And then somebody literally throws a brick, try to take out the mayor with a building brick. Yeah, just chaos. Let's get into it. Let's see what we had going on in San Fran. Here we go. San Francisco public safety meeting descends into chaos as woman throws brick at Mayor London Breed, who vows to crack down on open-air drug market, and city will finally allow cops to arrest people shooting up in broad daylight. Will they, though? Will they? Will they really? Or is Mayor London Breed just talking a tough game? She just throwing out stuff there that she can point to and say, I'm doing something. Well, I listened to the portion where she was still outside before security just rushed her inside because of brick throwing and about 3 different hecklers just yelling stuff. The only one that I could really pick out was an anti-cop message. No more cops. Well, because that's going so well, right? So, I mean, you know who they're from. San Francisco public safety meeting descended into chaos on Tuesday after a woman threw a book. Okay, the mayor was hosting a rare open hearing at United Nations Plaza. I don't know of any other hearings that have taken place at United Nations Plaza because it's so bad there. I just keep reading about more and more crime, ODs, you name it, they happen there at the United Nations Plaza to discuss the city's drug crisis before it had to be cut short following shouting and heckling from residents. Right from the get-go, it was just kind of one of those meetings where you're like, okay, yeah, I don't think this is going to go the full Monty. There's no way. But when city officials were preparing to leave, a woman threw a brick towards the Breed's podium and it struck a high school student who was presenting flags for the meeting. Struck her in the foot. Ouch. That's not good. So San Francisco police arrested the suspect, later identified as 26-year-old Licia Catet, and she was booked at San Francisco County Jail for child endangerment and assault with a deadly weapon, a brick. Hey, at least it wasn't a sword, right? No sword today. It comes as Mayor Breed vowed to crack down on the city's open-air drug market, and police will now be able to arrest people shooting up in broad daylight. Let's just take a moment right there. I mean, the fact that we've gone so far the wrong direction in San Fran that now the big thing is that, hey, the cops are going to be able to arrest people for open air drug use. Hey, we're getting somewhere. It kind of just shows you how far the wrong direction things have gone in San Fran, right? When it's your big when it's your big moment, oh yeah, they're going to be able to make arrests now. Other cities, they've never stopped arresting people, and those cities are doing better. Not saying every city's doing great, but certainly haven't gone down the progress route that San Francisco has, that, Portland has, that many of these cities have gone down. And then all of a sudden, folks are recognizing, oh, yeah, things are just not going the direction we need them to. And I feel like a number of the major cities, their mayors it's almost like they're in lockstep on this stuff. Like, okay, we got to do something. We got to show the people we're doing something. That's what this feels like, right? It's just all of a sudden you're hearing from a number of these, mayors of major North American cities, and they're all in that process of, okay, yeah, all right, we got to do just a little scooch of something so people don't chew our asses out at the next election, right? So it comes as Mayor Breed vowed to crack down on the city's open-air drug market. More than 70,000 residents have fled San Francisco since the start of the pandemic. We know about that because you got this whole declining quality of life and this whole thing going down. There's a photo of our nice brick thrower. brick thrower. If you're going to hurl a brick, you should get a guy to do it. And I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm just saying, to get that trajectory, so that that it's not going to hit somebody else like in the foot. You see, hit its intended target. Get like some kid that's 6'3", 25 years old, used to play baseball. He'll zing that brick right in there. He'll get it there. So that was part of the problem here is you chose the wrong player for this game. And no go. Need to do better planning next time, activists. All right. Here's Mayor Breed. I listened to her speech in its entirety. And she's saying if she actually does what she says, well, there's going to be a lot of really upset people because San Francisco hasn't had this type of activity where they will actually arrest folks. Now, they're going to arrest folks. The cops are going to arrest folks. The question is, are they going to prosecute them? And then the next question is, are they actually going to throw them in jail? Because if they just arrest them, this is all just a total waste of time. But Mayor London Breed, she is saying stuff that if she does, that will really, really rock some boats. I believe this is a lot of posturing. I do not believe that she is actually going to go down the road of really getting tough on crime, specifically the open air drug use. I just don't think so. I don't think the political will is there to do it, even though she claims very straightforward. Let's just say if she does what she says she's going to do, I'll be impressed. But I am not holding my breath that type of thing is going to happen. Here you get kind of an idea. I'm not going to play any of these videos. If you want to check this out, well, I'll have this link to this article and you can check out all the videos on our Discord channel. It's Reasonable Plus. You can find stuff there. So yeah, they arrested this person. And during this whole meeting, I mean, it was kind of hard to pay attention to what the mayor was saying because you got all these people in the background, just a bunch of people. Yeah, rah. Yeah, like a Black Lives Matter demonstration. Just a whole lot of talk about nothing, right? Just people whining about whatever. On Tuesday, dozens of people gathered for the public safety meeting and some chanted no more cops. That's what I was able to kind of make out as they called on the city to tackle fentanyl supply in San Francisco instead of arresting drug users. Well, I think you got to arrest everybody. Those doing the drugs, those supplying the drugs, those stealing the goods to sell for drugs. You got to take a shot at everybody because everybody's got a piece in this pie that is going down this road of basically tax-supported drug abuse, tax-supported addiction. That's what we've got going on in these big West Coast cities. And the Midwest cities, and East Coast, anywhere. You've got taxpayers footing the bill for people to just be degenerate drug addicts stealing from the community to afford their drug habit, right? Catet, that's the person who didn't get the brick nearly far enough for where it was. Bad trajectory. She just didn't have the arm. Catet allegedly threw the brick at Mayor Breed's podium after her speech. It struck a Galileo High School student who was with a Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps class on the foot. She was reportedly with a man in a trench coat during the incident and was quickly tackled to the ground by someone before she was detained by officers. Shortly before the incident, Mayor Breed was booed as she stood at the podium and called for a new approach to the drug crisis with harsher consequences for those involved in the drug trade. I don't want to laugh at people. Well, I mean, just a little bit. And it's only, I try and be reasonable, no matter who it is, no matter what, because then, you're just not that jerk. But Mayor Breed stood up at the podium and there was just a chorus of boos. Boo, boo. And she got up there and she went, "Thank you all so much," or something like that. I'm like, no. They were booing you. They were not. What happened here? They were booing you. They were not cheering you. They were not giving you accolades. But she's ever the politician and she was able to kind of just brush that off. And thank you all so much for being here, even those of you who are booing me. So it was just kind of one of those, what are we even doing here type moments. So here's an interesting quote. This is something I found super interesting. This is what Mayor Breed said. I run into people day in and day out in the Tenderloin, and they say, London, we would never have been allowed to get away with this stuff back in the day, she said. And the fact is, it's time for a change. Well, we keep hearing that, right? It's time for a change. We need to reimagine and rethink public safety. Well, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because you've got an outmigration of people from your city. You've got businesses leaving your city. You've got an untenable downtown commercial real estate market. It's not jiving the way it should be. And I know folks are looking at, well, how can we convert all these empty buildings into housing for the poor? Yeah, we're going down all of these roads because they're just trying to figure out something that's going to get some traction. But to me, the biggest thing is you got to get the whole drug crisis under control. You got a bunch of people dying from fentanyl, and you got people just openly selling, openly using. And that right there needs to be first thing to go. And I think other folks recognize that as well, because you're never going to truly, quash the whole drug market. It's just going to move somewhere else. But I think you can get better optics for a city by at least pushing it out from downtown. Now, some of the things that I'm observing is my Home Depot here in Bellevue. I hadn't been there in a few days, literally last weekend. And when I went back last night, I noticed that they've got those security kind of gates that you can walk through on your way in, but they won't open going the way back out because, in through the outdoor. Great Led Zeppelin. But they're implementing things like that I have never seen before here in my community in Bellevue. And just this afternoon, going to lunch, I went and got a tuna wrap from Trader Joe's. They've got a guy at the front door who's just this smiling guy. He looks like a greeter. And you know damn well he is right by the exit. That's loss prevention. He is there to stop folks from, or to dissuade folks from stealing. And I can't imagine that they would actually do anything to shoplifters because it's Trader Joe's, right? I mean, that's not happening. But just that dude's presence there makes you think, okay, God, I don't have anything in my pockets accidentally, do I? I mean, that's loss prevention. Different stuff, right? Different stuff. The Trader Joe's and the Home Depot are not that far away from a hotel that's got homeless folks in it now. King County is buying up hotels and throwing homeless people in there because that's what they're doing. And the one by my Trader Joe's, that is literally just around the corner, a couple of blocks from a homeless deal. So, all the stores in that area, in my area, are now kind of on lockdown of, otherwise all their stuff's going to go missing, right? Right out that front door, the 5-finger discount. So the people who live here, the folks who work here, and the people who experience these challenges every single day, they deserve better. That's what Mayor London Breed is all of a sudden saying, right? All of a sudden saying. So, and remember, she campaigned on a tough on crime approach. Her whole thing was, look at how this existing politician, the person she took over, look at how they have not handled crime. Crime has spiked out of control. I can do way better. I'm going to do way better. Well, now she gets that chance, right? Let's see what you got, London. Let's see what you got for policy here. She added, why should someone else's rights be put ahead before their needs and their safety and what they deserve too in a place like San Francisco that claims to be so compassionate and liberal? What about them? Well, I think we've been saying that all along. This whole thing is not about compassion. It's about not descending into insanity. And so much of the policy has clearly been about allowing things to descend into insanity, because otherwise you wouldn't do it, or else you're just, not reasonable. And I think there's a lot of that too. I really thought that policy would work out. I really thought there was a montage of video at a congressional hearing, and I can't even remember what. I think was it about the debt ceiling? I don't even know. There was a montage of Democrats saying how that they supported defund the police. Well, that's out of vogue now, right? That's just wildly out of vogue now because we saw how that story went. That's not good. Those statistics. That's not good. We don't want to defund the police. We want to fund the police. And even our fearless leader in the White House, it's about defunding the police. Everybody that was reasonable knew that up front. We had to go through this whole circus act before we got there. And yet you've still got some knuckleheads that are like, defund the police, greatest concept ever. Well, it's also like, well, if you allow the open air drug use to continue and you allow people to steal from stores to pay for drugs to continue, that's not going to work long term. There's going to be no stores around to steal from. There's going to be no stores around to tax, and your downtown is going to get even worse. And, it's not like if they close up these markets, those markets go elsewhere because these people's addictions, they are something else. You got some new drugs out there that are just nutty, just wacky, right? It makes people psychotic, makes people, literally enter into a state of psychosis. So you've got that, and then you've got trying to create a safer environment for tourists and employees so that everybody can get back to the downtown core, because everybody knows, all right, the downtown core is kind of the ship that steers everything, right? And it kind of leads everything through. And if you don't have that, you're basically rudderless, right? Bunch of boating stuff in there. Yeah. Drug use in San Francisco has spiraled out of control with the equivalent of one overdose death every 10 hours in a city that has seen its reputation as a coastal gem ravaged by worsening crime, drugs, and homelessness rates. And that is absolutely true. So I think if London Breed can do what she says she can do or what she's going to do, all right, I'm listening. I'm always going to listen. I just don't have much confidence. I mean, I listened when Mayor Ted said he was going to do, safer summer PDX. I listened. My ears were open. I'm listening, Ted. It's just things went in the wrong way. Some of this stuff I don't think we can get a handle back on. Arresting folks for open air drug use, yes. Whether you're going to prosecute those folks or not, I don't know. Because it's almost like in a city like San Francisco that arresting somebody for addiction is just a huge no-no. And that's essentially what you're going to be doing. But you're also trying to arrest them and get them off the streets to get them some help. And one of her big things was if people don't want to voluntarily go into treatment or to jail, then, treatment or a mental health care facility, then we're going to have to start enforcing the law. And that's basically what she said. You can watch her video. I'm not going to show it because I always get in trouble when I do that. Now, you showed copyrighted content. Well, it's all over the internet. Don't break my balls, right? But they often do because, censor's got to do something, right? There was a staggering 41% surge in the number of drug-related deaths in the first quarter of 2023 compared to the same time last year. 41% surge in the number of drug-related deaths. So that's kind of what this is all about. Because when you got a whole bunch of people dying, I don't know if you know this, but it's not a good look for a politician. How about all those people dying on your watch? Yeah, well, I'd rather not talk about that. Is that really even relevant? Yes, it is. Numerous brands have pulled out of the area as it continues to decline, with Whole Foods temporarily shutting a flagship store that opened just last year, citing worker safety. That's not temporarily. They're selling that building. They're selling that building. There's no temporary there. That's not happening. That thing is a goner. That's a bye-bye. And Nordstrom is closing both of its stores in downtown San Francisco due to changing dynamics in the area, which has been a spotlight for crime. Specifically, Mayor Breed walked the Tenderloin. And if you haven't been following this podcast or you haven't been following these stories, the Tenderloin is basically one enormous open air drug market where any kind of criminal activity is essentially allowed. You want to shoot up, you want to sell stuff, you want to, traffic other human beings. The world's your oyster. Anything is possible. anything is possible in the Tenderloin. So that's the area that they're going to start, because that area is bordering what was once a couple of really world-class shopping districts. And those are the ones we're talking about here. That is what, Whole Foods is leaving. Nordstrom is leaving. Anthropology. I mean, the list just goes on. It's like a list of 106 stores since the pandemic have left. It's about half. It's about half. A handful have come back in, but then there's also some that have come in since the pandemic that are already in the process of shutting down, including Whole Foods. Now, Whole Foods had 568 911 calls. They had 568 calls for help, including an overdose in the restroom bathroom. I mean, if that isn't a reason to shut a store down, I don't know what it is. Basic safety. We don't have any, therefore we got to shut it down. Mayor Breed, she says that, she grew up in this area and she knows San Francisco and it wasn't like that when she was younger, and she wants to get back to that. Is there enough political pull to make this start to happen in San Fran? That is what I question. People actually being arrested and then incarcerated, prosecuted and incarcerated. The jury is out, and the jury will remain out on that, right? Because I frankly, I don't see that happening. Things have swung so far in the wrong direction. And it feels like it's just part of a greater plan, right? Yeah, take a really nice city and make it into a big piece of poop. Big piece of poop. That was one of the podcasts I did recently, was that the number of poop incidents at the Westfield Mall have increased by 800%. And that is not that far from where we're talking about here at the UN Plaza. It's close by. It's close by. So you've got this mall where it used to be just every now and then somebody who couldn't hold it, couldn't make it up in the elevator to public restroom inside. And they just, when you got to go, you got to go, whether you're on the elevator or not. But now that is happening on the regular. Yep. Poop in the elevator again, human poop on the elevator again. Just so gross. So if you want to check out that really exciting podcast that I did, maybe not during mealtime, because it is, it's just kind of could have gone all day without hearing that. But you want to hear it. You want to hear it. But she said the chaotic hearing was not the right place to hold the discussion, and the meeting was abruptly ended. It did end. You're sitting there going, okay, all right. London, I hear you. I hear what you got going on. All right. This is what you're saying. It's over. We're moving the meeting inside where the absolute anarchy, chaotic folks screaming about cops or something where those folks aren't. Oh, okay. So, all right. Problem, meeting over, meeting adjourned. We're just going to scooch right on inside where these knuckleheads aren't. Officials agreed to reconvene at City Hall to complete the rest of the meeting, where Mayor Breed welcomed the opportunity to work with the board on shutting open air drug dealing down. How about a little bit more than just shutting down open air drug dealing? What about just a scooch more than that? What about, I don't know, working on, people just organized retail theft, stealing from stores all day long? What about that? There's so many different things that could be worked on in San Francisco, right? And in Seattle and Portland, because there's so many different ways that we've just allowed things to happen. Policy's been put in place. Just a bunch of woke nonsense. That's what it is. It's just woke nonsense that doesn't really help people out. And people think it does. It just doesn't, because we're reading about it here. I mean, now you've got, Mayor London Breed kind of going against the own narrative of, you can't arrest people. You can't arresting people for having an addiction. That is inhumane. Well, you got to do something. You can't, and it's not humane. Those are just what the activists say, and they're just full of crap to begin with. So, what is actually going to happen? Are the police all of a sudden going to rush in and start closing it down? Oh, I mean, we've seen incidents of that happen, but making that stick long term, I don't think we have the political will in San Fran to see that happen. But we're going to find out, right? She urged supervisors to pass her public safety budget without any reductions and is expected to reveal her proposed citywide budget on June 1st. And that she's got a program wrapped up into the budget. And that's why we're kind of talking about that. And that's what she was, hoping to do a Q&A, but the meeting somewhat devolved into this screaming match. And then, we've got the brick throwing incident and just, things just kind of went sideways. Things went sideways. And when the mayor of San Francisco runs around, they have full-on security entourage, right? Because they know how dangerous the streets are that they're going to be doing a speech on. They know how dangerous the UN Plaza is. San Francisco's Department of Emergency Management confirmed a pilot program was being developed that would address situations when someone is so far under the influence of drugs that they may pose a danger to themselves or others. See how we spin that? It's not about our danger, but we are afraid of you. It's about how you might harm yourself. So we want to get you the help that you need. And then that in turn will help us feel safer about just walking around the streets of San Fran. So supervisors said it would allow police to arrest people using drugs in public, but it has been met with criticism by some board members who denounced it as reactionary, cruel, and counterproductive. What is, I was listening to a kind of a back and forth meeting with Sarah Nelson. Sarah Nelson, county Seattle City Council member, also owns Fremont Brewery. Her family does. And she's an integral part of that. And she was saying, what I found super interesting about the most recent meeting they had is that they were asking her, she was basically hammering on a number of folks and asking them how the whole harm reduction philosophy really benefits people. And she said, hey, I get it. When we're talking about clean needles and hepatitis and the era of AIDS, I get it that harm reduction, you give somebody a clean needle, you might be avoiding, some types of additional, harm to people. Okay. It's still a stretch, but I get it. But then what she brought up was, okay, but explain to me how handing out a meth pipe or a crack pipe that encourages people to smoke those drugs. Tell me how that reduces the harm. Where is the harm reduction in that? And watching that interview and watching the people on the pro-drug side of things try and answer that one, there was just a whole bunch of double speak and just rah, 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 and it didn't make any sense. Because you can't spin a clean crack pipe. You can't spin a clean meth pipe because it just doesn't, it's not the same thing as a needle, right? Needles get dirty, bad for injecting into your system. Pipe, you put that in your mouth, somebody else has had it. Where's the explanation there? There isn't one. That's the point. There isn't one. So San Francisco Police Department will be able to enforce 2 city codes to arrest people under the influence and take them to the county jail. According to Melissa Hernandez, a legislative aide for Supervisor Dean Preston, she said those arrested will then be released hours later. Oh, that's comforting. That's comforting. You got to like that. Mayor Breed alluded to the pilot program during Tuesday's board meeting and said she was proposing changes to our state law and will be enacting local programs to try to end this disruptive behavior. All of a sudden, we have gone from bring your drugs here, do them all here. We will set up a, free needle exchange. They had a massive one in the Tenderloin that just got closed down not long ago. So, but they claimed that was just temporary due to COVID. And now you're going full circle the other way where, okay, yeah, not only are we not going to, just allow this to happen, we're going to arrest you. We're going to arrest you. So, we've gone full circle here. Or I should say, we have a proposal to go more than full circle. Will it really drive results in? Well, if London Breed does it the way she said she's going to do it, I'm going to have some good podcasts because you're going to have some really pissed off people. And I don't know if we'll see that in the immediate future. I think it's something we probably kind of ease into, but so many of these programs, they have good intentions, but they just don't work, right? They just don't work because folks on drugs, they have kind of their own system of priority in their lives. And it's called getting high every day. I'll do anything I can to keep that going. And so they do. So even if you do start to ratchet down on some of the shoplifting happening in the community, guess what? Those who are addicted to drugs, now they're just going to come to your house and steal from you if you live in the area. Well, it's no good with the businesses here. Guess I'll go try and rob that house. I need my fix, and I'm not going to let anything stand between me and my fix. So what do we do? So Mayor London Breed asked the question, what do we do about those who are struggling with addiction on our streets and they refuse services? She said, good question. Because as much as shutting down drug markets, it's also about making it clear that problematic behavior will not be tolerated on our streets. San Francisco has become literally the poster child for crazy stuff happening on its streets, right? Portland is right there. Portland, pound for pound. Portland is outperforming as far as just the insanity of humanity on the streets. Portland is punching way above its level. I mean, it's going for it. Recently, we had in one of the jails, we had an inmate bite off the tip of somebody's finger, a sheriff. I mean, you got some just nutty stuff going on, right? I mean, you need to just, yeah. All right. You bit his finger off. We're going to give you 20 years for that, but that'll never happen, right? It's Portland. All right. So you were hungry and, you thought his finger was a fry and you ate it and you were on a bender. Or, who knows? Who knows what's going on? Somebody bites off my finger. I want to see them rot in jail for a long time because I think that's fair. Even if they hook it back on. Hey, you took that one bite, remember? Horrible. Paskin released a statement on Tuesday evening and said the city has the resources right now to close down the open-air drug supermarkets. Okay, but they're not going to disappear. They're still going to be out there. They're going to move elsewhere. They're going to reimagine and rethink where they're going to be, and they'll go there, and they'll just, keep operating. So unless there is a massive all-over effort to address some of this, these are isolated campaigns that will be done that will have some short-term impact, but as far as solving the situation, well, so you're only going to throw in jail people who are problematic. Okay. Got a lot of folks that are still kind of somewhat functioning and aren't necessarily crazy. What are you going to do about them? Ones that you just keep arresting over and over and over. What are you going to do about them? And there's a lot of them out there, right? He also pointed to the violent woman who threw a brick at the opening hearing as a demonstration of the city's disorganization. If we can't guarantee everyone's safety when the mayor and her security team are present, we have lost control of our public realm, Peskin said. I think San Francisco lost control of its public realm long ago. And now you are picking up the pieces and you are trying to duct tape together whatever tiny shreds of public safety you've got left, which aren't much because we have seen just damn near anything happen crime-wise in San Francisco, haven't we? Including Paul Pelosi, Paulie P, being assaulted by some guy that the family may or may not know. I mean, and stuff like Bob Lee, the CEO, he gets stabbed and dies on the streets, essentially, of San Francisco. Granted, neither one of those incidents really is about the drug trade in a place like the United Nations Plaza where the speech was, but it all kind of works together, doesn't it? It all works together. And it's our shared mission to regain control of our public spaces so that they are safe and clean for everyone always. And I would like a partridge in a pear tree for Christmas. Yeah, I would love to see San Francisco get control of its streets. I just don't think there's the political will to do it. I don't think you've got the ability to drop the hammer like you probably need to, like has been done with other cities, because, these protesters, if they're going to go after things, they're not going to go quietly into the night, and you're going to have a certain element that are just going to make things as difficult as humanly possible. Because the chaos that you see in San Francisco, I kind of believe the majority of that is planned. It doesn't just happen. Politicians don't just, big city crime. There's a reason why this is all going on. And you're watching it unfold. But unfortunately, I think the activity has kind of crossed this threshold. And so politicians have to come out and go, okay, we got to do something. I'm going to do my new 2-pronged plan, and we're really going to get some stuff done. So we simply can't defend the status quo, and we must continue to demand change. Well, I don't think change has been demanded this whole time at all. That's been part of the problem. It's been things have been so complacent with the amount of shoplifting, drug use, decriminalizing drugs, just basically letting chaos run free in the streets. That's how you got where you are, not from demanding change. But now you're going to demand change because it's not looking good politically, right? Not looking good. Folks in these cities are saying, you know what? We really need to do something here because this is not working. But those are the same folks that voted in the policy that allowed this to take place in the first part. But now it's gotten a little bit out of control and they're trying to reel it back in. I don't see it happening, which gives me podcasts for days. I know I keep saying that, but I also haven't seen any changes here. And why would we? I mean, why would we, honestly? Give me a good reason. Because it's better for the citizens? I mean, has any of this stuff been done on behalf of the citizens? I mean, some of the nonsense has. And you're like, no, that's not really for the citizens at all. That's for those in control of political situation here. That benefits them way more than the folks on the ground, just trying to go to their grocery store, just trying to take their kids to the park, and they can't because they've got all these knuckleheads running around just doing endless cycles of drugs and then stealing to pay for endless cycles of drugs. It's the way I see it. All right. So as more comes out on this, I'm going to podcast it for you. That's what we do here at News for Reasonable People. If you are new to News for Reasonable People, as about, there's like 15,000 of you in the last couple of months that have jumped on board. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that I'm bringing you content that you're interested in. And there's always a link in the description for either our Discord channel or an email address. You can send me, if you want to send me a storyline, if you think you got a barn burner, there's multiple ways to get a hold of me. Check out the links in the description and, or just go to Reasonable Plus. That's our Discord channel. I'm pretty easy to shoot a message to if you see something that's really good and you want me to cover it. So thanks in advance. I will catch up with you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, like the video if you like it, all that good stuff. Thank you. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.